Greetings, everyone out there in internet land. My name is Troy Bernier, and I'm reporting to you from the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival. Here we are in the level 2 garage, point here, somewhere distant way out, somewhere in between the moon and the earth. We're reporting to you. And today I have a very special feature film to chat with you about. It is called The Dim. This Dim is sort of what we would fall into the category of lo-fi sci-fi, where this is such a film where it's all about story. We've got some effects, we've got some extraterrestrial stuff going on. We also have some cultural stuff going on. Cultural as in indigenous cultural, indigenous culture. And we have for you, Mr. Ginew Benton and Dylan Carusona, who are going to join us and tell us about this film. So come with us today, Mr. Ginew Benton and Mr. Dylan Carusona. How are you?
What's going on?
Fabulous,
Good to see
fantastic,
you again, man.
Good to see
Wonderful.
you too. Good to see you guys. Wow. So The Dim, this is a feature film, man. This is, you're alumni and you're so well decorated making these short films, and you decided to throw in the hat and go full steam and make a feature film. And we have the amazing privilege to watch this.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on.
And it was hard work. If I can say that, it definitely, if I thought doing a short film, a very complicated short film, Dylan and I worked on Mirror Man. That was in the festival last year, I believe.
Year before.
It was 2 years ago. 2 years.
Oh,
ago.
wow.
Yeah, time flies.
Wow, time flies.
Right.
But we always had we're friends. We've known each other for a long time, so the amount of work that and planning and trying to make it as easy as possible on everybody, right, even though it probably wasn't easy all the time. Yeah. And I think my biggest critic is your friends. Dylan was always there, just especially as a producer and a friend, to be able to trudge me along if I was slacking and not doing my optimal work. You know what I mean? So he's always there on set, especially starring in the film as the lead star. Troy is the character's name. No relation.
You're prodding, or what's going on with that?
So it was a lot of work, but it was one of those things where it was a passion project, just wanting to do the best that I could with the least amount that I had. And even though it was a lot of work, it was a lot of fun because, I did work with a lot of my friends, some new people, and my place of employment at the time, LTV Studios, my friends that I made there. So I credit them because they graciously donated their times, right, the facility and all that stuff to supporting my work. That's awesome. I did have a lot of help, so it was very fun.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So just to dance a little bit, so can you tell us talk a little bit more about who you are, Ginew, and who you are, Dylan? Who are you guys? Where are you coming from, and why are you doing this?
You want to go first, Dylan?
Yeah, sure, I could. I am a trained actor that happens to be indigenous, and I'm very proud of my indigenous heritage and the other. I'm biracial, so I'm proud of all my ancestral heritage. But I identify, and I think most people identify me as indigenous or Native American. So, and then figuring out where a performer fits in this industry is a big decision for a performer, and when you're a minority, the industry kind of dictates to you what you are able to play.
What do you mean by that? What
well, I mean, I'm a male romantic lead, but I'm not going to be cast in a role that's going to be played by Brad Pitt.
Or Schwarzenegger.
it's as simple as that. Stuff
Or
like that.
Terminator.
Like
You can't be a
although
Terminator.
I'm just saying that's my type. I'm not saying I should be beating out Brad Pitt from his acting gigs, but I'm saying those would be the kind of roles that I should be auditioning for regardless of my color. But those roles are going to be going to mostly established actors, not necessarily white, just established actors. They tend to be of people of not minorities. That's me. I grew up watching a lot of TV, and I always wanted to be an actor. And then I wanted to be when I was middle school and in those adolescent years, I really
Really?
got into sketch comedy, and that's what I wanted to do as a kid.
Okay.
And even stand-up comedy was kind of a dream of mine. And then I kind of realized that I don't know. I don't think I'm.
Wait a second. You have a comic streak that we don't know
No,
about?
I don't. I did like when I was like 12, 13,
jokes?
14.
You have
No,
any jokes?
no, I was an imitator. I imitated things, and
You
I made fun
of people.
and I was gonna say, and this is the type of humor that I do. I'm an in the moment person. Okay, so I see something and I'll make fun of it, and usually people get what I'm making, or they relate to what I'm making fun of, and they makes them laugh.
Okay.
I'm not a joke. I wouldn't say I'm a terrible joke teller. I just don't know any good. I listen to a joke and I hear it and I go, okay, that's not a joke for me to tell for whatever reason.
So we're talking about a joke through an indigenous lens.
I mean,
you gotta have one.
I mean, it's all situational. So I mean, the easiest stuff is like asking stuff like, why did the colonizer think that? Well, you just answered your own question. He's the colonizer. He's
Here it comes. Here it comes.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to call anyone out, but what is a good? There's okay. This is not mine, but from Wakanda Forever, she's like, oh, my favorite colonizer, and I'm like, yes.
Oh boy, see where this is going.
This is what we call our allies, our favorite colonizers.
Oh my god. Well, that takes us, of course, down a tangent.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're way off course.
But so we'll definitely come back to that one. But what inspired the production of the film? Why is it called The Dim?
Okay, so the dim is a metaphor for dim is the first three letters of dimension.
Ooh.
So not only does this character go into a different dimension with an interdimensional object, but it's also the dim in the male ego, the human spirit, and what somebody would do with a gift if they don't use it properly. And I think that is the metaphor that I wanted to bring about in this film, dealing with Native Americans in a colonial world, the psychological and emotional effects that would have on us, and the tragedy that it has on a lot of our male figures growing up in this world. Our identity, our place, being able to navigate those spaces and finding a place of belonging, and ultimately self-destruction. So that is the dim in a nutshell, why I wanted to make this. But where the dim actually came from, and I probably shouldn't say because it kind of gives away some stuff. But I had a bout with sleep paralysis, and it got me thinking of other worlds, spirits, and what those things mean culturally, what that means for you as a human being. Could that force possibly be? There's lots of theories on the internet about what that is. But making the film was basically resolving some personal issues that I had. You know, a lot of the times people say art is therapy. You know, so when I make a film, a lot of people, when they see my films, they're very, they can be very emotional at times, and that's just me putting my paint on a canvas, and in this case, it's the dim, thinking about issues and trying to weave those all together in something that's sort of cohesive and makes sense, and entertaining, that would kind of resonate with people.
Right.
And so that's how that came about. And of course, being lo-fi, like you said, being a lo-fi film, you know, no better resource to have than your friends. And Dylan, I think, is a great producer because he basically got me my talents. In a lot of cases, he was very gunning for people. We went through cast members, but we finally solidified our team. And you know, he was my number one, you know, supporter in this. You know, especially starring in it and you know, dealing with me in a lot of cases. So I applaud him for that, and he did a great job. I think he did an amazing job as this lead character. And as he said, having a professional actor on your side, he was so helpful on set.
Really, I was.
Yeah, no, he rewrote some stuff so that it made more sense. You know, like he's saying, he's very quick thinking on the spot.
Yeah.
And
the other actors too, they were you know, making those lines their own. You know, the other actors did some rewriting too.
Yeah. Would it be okay to take a look at the trailer real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
Give us a little, give the audience a little more context.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
So, who is he?
I told you, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm so blind. Go get banged out.
You okay? You've been awfully quiet today.
I just keep hoping that he could change.
Come on, Troy.
A cube? You sure about this?
Yeah.
Who are you? Take your feet.
What was that?
Oh man, like that was good. Like I was saying previously, with your use of effects within the scope of lo-fi sci-fi, you know, a lot of independent films that don't have millions of dollars to throw at something, they have to concentrate on the story and the use of certain elements that they can use in their story. And I think you did a fabulous job with that. And like I was saying, when we were in the green room, the lo-fi sci-fi genre, I think, was really perfected in as far as sending it out to the world, to the universe here, that hey, there are people who make some really good science fiction films. You got to look at this. And like I said, I first ran into this back at the Other Worlds Film Festival in Austin, Texas, and the films that they were releasing were so interesting. I used to fly down there and see the films. I used to pull films from their festival because that's was usually the world premiere at the time. And that's when I really caught on to this. And that economic model, which is really driving a lot of sci-fi today, Netflix, Amazon, all of those different studios out there, you know, they've got big budgets, but it's not about spending $50 million to make a film. They want to spend $5 million to make a film, or a lot less. So that puts it into what I would call the lo-fi sci-fi model, where you're not traveling all over the world. You're not pulling in 4 or 5 A-listers. You know, you might pull in one A-lister and fill up the rest. And this is what you're seeing today. So I congratulate you on producing a film that not only is good, but you really can touch quite a many different people because of the storyline and its reach. It's broad. You'll be able to get into a lot of different festivals with this, which of course is my next question. When was this? When was this released? And have you been in any other festivals? What has been the feedback?
I've been in 2 other festivals so far. A couple festivals had reached out to see what it is that I have. They're Minnesota-based film festivals, and they've heard of my work. They wanted a couple of small cultural family-friendly pieces that I had. So it got into one film festival and won an audience favorite award, which was really good and kind of positive, and it felt good as the artist. And then we got into you, Misifi. So I should also note that we shot this all on cell phone. So not only is it lo-fi, but mostly on iPhone 12 and 14.
Wow.
And I say this because a lot of my talks, when I get invited to speak about Native filmmaking in schools and in front of kids and so on and so forth, that's one of the points that I like to make with these kids today. Sure. Is that when it comes to filmmaking, there are tons of ways to be able to do it now. Yes. The technology, you don't have to know how to work a big film camera anymore, like physical film, like the way it used to be, with the advent of very simple objects. All you need is to have the idea and the love and support of your friends and your family, and to be able to help you with those things. Yeah. So a lot of people get surprised when they watch the whole film, and they're surprised to know that it was done on a cell phone. And they're like, it looks very filmic, and I said, well, there's a lot of, even in the editing tools, there's lots of different ways to, I wouldn't say fake the effect of film, but, color grading, all that kind of stuff. Right. They have different AI technologies to make it look with the depth of field properties that it has. And this is the cube that just popped up. This is the interdimensional object. This is the poster. Yeah. That's Dylan right there in the foreground.
Yeah. So you mentioned a couple interesting points that I'd like to cover, and I want to talk a little bit more about you utilizing your phone, an iPhone. How you managed to do that? What was it like transferring the data? What was it like with the optics? Did you use any of the new types of filters that you can put on the camera, or lenses that you could put on the phone, or did you do something in post? And what kind of software did you use? And of course, Final Draft. Final Draft is a big sponsor of the festival. Yeah. So did you use Final Draft to write your script? So
Dylan can attest to this. I wrote the script as we went, so I had the general idea of the film, and basically I would hand pages of the script to the cast members probably a week, if that, before we would have to shoot, because being low budget, and we'd always have to wait for everybody to be free, at the same time. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's another issue.
Yep. So otherwise it would have taken, it would have been very quick. But then again, that's also one of the things that Dylan got on my case about is, we need pages, man, all the time. We need the script. Come on, man. I need to know what I'm saying for this thing. And then I would send it to him. Because a lot of times I would, when he would be saying, send me the script, I'd be writing the pages and the dialogue as he was, kind of getting on my case. and then sending it out to everybody. And then, next day or a couple days, the people would come out via bus and everything. We'd all meet up together and do the scenes.
So you were using this software on the fly. You used Final Draft, right?
Yep, Final Draft.
And you used it. So you were using this you were developing your script on the fly as you were conducting your production.
Correct.
So how long was the production?
Was it 2 years?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
On and off.
But I would say the actual days of filming probably less than 15, maybe 10 even.
A month. I would say a month or so. Like, because you weren't on the.
Yeah, I wasn't in every film day.
Yeah. So yeah, and I tried to write the scenes also with who is available. That was one of the other, so if I had to shoot the scenes and somebody wasn't available, I'd write the scenes so that either somebody was on the phone or, the camera angle would switch. You know what I mean? So we'd intermix those different days together so that they'd kind of look like they were on set together.
Right.
So again, it's very, I don't know if you would call it guerrilla filmmaking, just kind of going on the fly. Yeah. And everybody had the gist of what it is that I wanted. And I'm not that kind of director where it's like, my way or the highway, it's like, as long as you get the basic gist of the story and the feeling, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? So everybody kind of, like you said, like Dylan said, made it their own, made their characters their own. And then once we had people cast and stuff like that too, I would change things based off of their personalities, what I think
really
would look good for them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm just adding a couple things here.
I know Dylan probably. What do you think, Dylan? Do you have anything
Well,
to add to that?
because I'm curious myself. When did the actual? Are we done with post-production, or are you still tweaking?
I'm still kind of tweaking here and there.
So you're not done. It's not done still.
It's like a painter just going, one more little mark. I can't.
and guys, to be honest, that's not unusual. Okay. And I'm going to put it to you in a scale that is as high as it goes. Okay. Disney releases a film, or I don't want to say Disney, but let's say Marvel. Marvel releases, which is really Disney.
Disney.
Marvel releases a film, and in the first week, there's all of this pushback about something in the film. Doesn't matter what it is. Something in the film. The next week, the film's different.
Yeah. Who is the biggest culprit of that? Sonic the Hedgehog.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd he do?
So basically, nowadays with the fandom of things,
yeah,
people will see released images. So like the first image of Sonic the Hedgehog, people hated it. So they redid the entire film they redid the CGI to make it look like the video game version so that it wouldn't upset fans.
You see that? You see?
Wow.
And it was still a good film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you see? And I want to say
if you got kids happened. And you can make it through it.
and I want to say the same thing happened in not the mermaid film. It was the Moana. Didn't something happen with the Moana film?
The cartoon one, not they're shooting the live version of it right now.
One of our alumni is part of that. Todd Janowski is no, not Moana. What's it? Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, really?
Todd Janowski is part of that production. He's part of the visual effects in it. So the film was pushed back. So we're definitely going to bring him on board by the time the film is ready, which I think will be next season. So
they're doing a live action version of Lilo and Stitch. I mean, they're basically doing that with every film.
For years, they're doing this. For years.
Wow.
And so I can imagine, the pushback that came out of that, because so many clips of them shooting in Hawaii, a lot of those clips were released on the internet. Don't know who, why, or whatever. but it happened and people went nuts about it. So, but this is the byproduct. This is the collateral damage, okay, of a small minority of people that are highly vocal on social media.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But
and
they're changing they're getting the studios to change their films. Like, that's crazy.
not just the studios are changing their film. Policies are changing, laws are changing, right? All because small vocal groups of, let's just call them entities, because now a bot can do it, right? A bunch of bots could get together, or you could put a bunch of bots together, and they can be highly vocal in social media. And now that we have AI, okay, can you imagine, right? So, which, we do have a panel. We have a panel at the festival this season, which might interest you. The panel is called "Tripping Through the Uncanny Valley," and this panel is it was first inspired by our first sci-fi citizen, Mr. Dean Lyon, who was visual effects supervisor for the Lord of the Rings franchise. He was at MCFI for his first couple of years. But it's a discussion on AI and the gains and losses that come from the adaptation of AI and just about everything we do. So we're going to have a live panel during the festival time, and there's also going to be a virtual panel, similar setup as this. So if either of you want to participate in it, it would be quite interesting. I think so. So that's my take on that.
I did recall one thing about the film. Basically, the effect, the major effect, obviously, is the cube. But I think that one of the things that are happening in sci-fi now, which is starting to happen, is people having more honesty out of their science fiction again. And I think that there was a lot of honesty in the 80s and 90s in films that I grew up with, because the technology was more difficult. And then it went into a lot of CGI heavy films, and then people got tired of that because of the shallowness that some of these films would have, the sci-fi would have. And basically, I think that's an advantage. You hear it all the time when, I think Jaws is like the biggest quoted one, where the shark would always break down. So they would have to rethink and reimagine how it is to convey the feeling of the film in order to get the point across.
Right.
So that's basically what it is that I tried to do with this film. With, as you can see, he's approaching the interdimensional object right now. And I just wanted to make a shout out to Mod VFX, who created that. And also one of our executive producers, Heather Henson, who
thank you,
who helped out with the visual effects and being able to support that. But to be able to create a meaningful story around something that is expensive and that you can't always have, something looming in the background within a character, I think Dylan pulls that off amazingly. Because you always feel the sense that the object is there in his performance. And as you can see from these little bits, he's I wanted to have that kind of 80s feel in it.
It wasn't there, and he's touching something that wasn't there. So he has to have that in him, which really comes from being a theatrical actor, Dylan.
I totally agree. And you mentioned Ginew, you mentioned something about the this truthfulness that existed in the sci-fi from the early 80s and stuff like that, or when we were growing up. And what keeps coming in my mind is Starman. and
Yes.
it's such a beautiful film because it doesn't go where you think all alien versus, most alien films go to alien versus man, and it doesn't go there. It goes deeper than that. And that's what I feel is going on with the truthfulness of the dim is, it's, we're not going, not to say that we wouldn't get our butts kicked by these aliens with, technology well beyond ours, but it's more about, why they're connecting with us. What is it? Why are they connecting, and how? And
Wait a second. Wait a second, Dylan. Are you suggesting that aliens are real?
I mean,
Let's
I just watched
say-
too much. I just watched too much History Channel.
History Channel.
Well, let's
The
just
ancient
say that
aliens.
in the
Ancient
indigenous
aliens is like
context, too, that we all have our teachings, and
Yeah.
star people and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And even in our own origins, that we were lowered from the sky. I think we all have that. Most of our tribes have that teaching. Some tribes say we came up from under the ground, and so
Yep.
on and so forth. But the majority of us do have that coming from the sky realm,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
descendants of star people.
So we can't put it past
Right.
that
Right.
that idea. But
I can add to that. And I was having a conversation actually with a cousin of mine we were talking about spirituality, and that all groups of people on the earth have spirituality. And even if you go back further enough in that community's timeline in the past, spirituality was everything, because it was their connection to the natural environment, right? And some people argue one of the reasons why society today isn't so much disarray is the disconnection of us from spirituality. And their comment was, yeah, they did it to everybody, but when they got to North America, the indigenous people here, they didn't fall for it. They're holding on to their spirituality. They're not giving that up. And it was really, really powerful. And of course it's worthy of a deep dive panel on sci-fi and spirituality, because I think that's a big connection and in the direction where I think we're going.
Yeah. And I think that as an indigenous person, growing up in a spiritual way, Dylan and I, we've ceremonied together, and I think that's important in Native relationships, and also in the representation of Native American film.
Right.
Even today, we do have representation from Native directors and producers and things like that. But there's still some things that can seem stereotypical in the background, that only a lot of natives would be able to look at and point at and say, they're still doing that old same cliche, without any meaning behind it, just to put it on camera. So for just for example, I had watched the movie Prey with Dylan's mom. Dylan's mom came to set one day, and I just put on a movie for her to watch because she's never seen it, and I didn't hear it, but she heard it. It was the old Washington Redskin Hollywood beat, in the score. They masked it really well, but it was still present. And then once I heard it, you couldn't unhear it, and it was disappointing. And
I didn't know about this. Is it like basically the dun 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 dun?
No, it's the dun 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 dun.
Oh my God!
Your mom pointed it out, and I was so heartbroken by that. When
Wait.
I can't make it through personally. I can't make it through the film. That's me.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah. There was some characterizations that were still stereotypical in that too, even though it was cool to have.
But I thought you liked the film.
I like the Predator. I love Predator.
Okay.
You know,
He did like the film until my mom pointed that out.
Yeah.
Wait, but what was wrong with what they did?
For example, there was just some things that like when the warrior shot the hawk out of the air, like we wouldn't do that, that kind of thing.
Okay,
just subtle little things that were just kind of like, Well,
that's how
I did like the whole female hero thing.
Well, that's how you,
because a lot of people contextualize natives in this black and white patriarchal system when we weren't that way. We had a big gray area where we did have female warriors, and it wasn't exactly depicted how it was on camera. That was very Western in my opinion, because if somebody wanted to hunt, they could hunt. If somebody wanted to do something that was outside of the normal day-to-day gender roles, we didn't think anything of it like that.
Right.
So it was just kind of putting an era story into kind of today's context with today's kind of vocabulary. So in that sense, it was still kind of stereotypical, but I found it very entertaining,
Yeah.
and a cool idea, because I'm a fan of Predator to begin with.
Okay. So, man, this could go on for an hour.
It can.
But we actually have a hard stop in less than 2 minutes.
Okay.
So,
shoot.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, man, what I was going to say is that's how the film, the part you mentioned about the person shooting the hawk with the arrow, that wouldn't happen in a film that
in a traditional spiritual society.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're so sacred to us, like feathers and things like that are given. That's what I mean? And
I'm also going to say, if it was directed by a native, they were like, absolutely not.
That's right. That's the point where I'm going with. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, we are so tied up with so much to talk about, but once again, during the virtual festival, we can continue this, and we could even push it out on a live stream if you dare. Right. So I leave you with this last question. Are you a Star Wars or a Star Trek fan?
It's so hard now.
It's too hard. There's reasons
it's
love
hard to be
both.
a fan. Are you a fan, or are you not a fan?
Love
I'm a fan of old Star Wars. I did like the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. I did like so now I'm drawing a blank. But
Koshka, whatever the
Ahsoka.
So,
I'll throw my 2 cents in there. I love the spirituality aspect of Star Wars, which is completely missing from the Star Trek universe, which is fine, because Star Trek, I love the reality-based stuff that we've stolen, like tachyon pulse and like all these scientific terms that they've stolen from Star Trek that now are actual real scientific terms.
well, that's part of our other panel called the science of science fiction, right? That was our first panel that the festival first created. A young lady by the name of Tashana wasn't Tashana's last name, but anyway, she's a geoscientist. She used to be a lecturer at the University of Miami, and she was part of the festival in its earliest years. And she said, "Oh, we could have this great panel, the science behind science fiction, where we talk about a lot of the theories that were created during the 19th and 20th century, primarily the earlier 20th century, that we now know are facts today."
Yeah,
and a lot of that was revealed in the early days of Star Trek. Go ahead.
Before we go, another thing about representation, and talking about Dylan's talk that he had in the beginning. When people have watched the dim, they're surprised to see that it doesn't necessarily have to be a Native American film.
That's
You know,
right.
it's very modern day sci-fi where it just
Right.
so happens to have Native American characters in it.
Right.
Now, there's a reason for that. That they're Native American characters, and it plays a role to the kind of twist, I should say, in the film. But people enjoy that it can be graspable by other people, non-Native American people. And I think that representation today, I think films like this would be able to open up to more Native American people being starring in roles
Mhm.
in front of the camera,
Mhm.
because a lot of the times we are not stereotypicalized, but sometimes stuff has to be too Indian,
Mhm.
and that we're often put in a box
Right.
of representation.
Right.
And I think that in accomplishing this film, I wanted to create something where it's readable by non-Indians and Native American people alike. So in that case, I hope that it does resonate that way, and I'm looking forward to if it does. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because a lot of times when people see Native American films, they categorize it
Yes.
and just
Yes.
put it over to the side as a Native American film, as opposed to being just a film.
Yeah.
Although I'm very proud to be Native, and I'm very proud that this is a Native American film.
Yes.
But fitting it in that box and taking it out of that so that it's just recognized as a film starring Native American people, produced by Native American people, directed and written by Native American people, and acted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that is an accomplishment for myself, and I think that's one of the accomplishments that I wanted out of this film. So, and I hope that there will be more like it.
Awesome. No, yeah, there will be. I'm looking forward to that. Well, great stuff, guys. I thank you so much for joining us here at MCFE, and we look forward to entertaining the film. Dylan, you're going to be at the festival.
Yes, I'll be there.
You did see the production time. The film, I think, is going to play like you've got an early slot. I think.
No, I didn't see. What time are we screening?
It screens 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
doable.
Yeah. So that should be a lot of fun, and looking forward to having a nice Q&A with you.
Very much so. I look forward to it.
All right. So can I put our push out some drumming? Circle?
If it's a good, we call it drum group.
Drum group, yes.
Yeah, drum circles are those weird people in the woods that
Just for a few seconds.
That's the colonizers version.
Just for a few seconds. Just a few seconds.
Okay.
A little bit. Let them guys in.
Just for context to people that don't know, a lot of times in these competition powwows, they'll have a special contest where a drum group will have to sing a random song to test their knowledge of the history of powwow music. So that's what's going on. So somebody's singing a song and they're going to have to basically do a cover band version of it.
That's most impressive, man. Thanks for that little narration there you did too. That really helped.
And
Yes.
that
Awesome.
one guy that was sitting there with the kind of flowers right here,
Yeah.
he just won a Juno Award for his personal album in Canada yesterday.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's the husband of my wife's first cousin. So
wow.
he lives right down the road. It's pretty cool.
Very
That's
cool.
Awesome.
Dang.
awesome.
And
That's
you picked
awesome.
that out.
Yeah,
Um,
that was so coincidental and random.
What? That's awesome.
See how the universe works? I
Yeah.
keep telling you. Yes, baby. Yes.
For sure.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. See you again soon.
Yeah, I'm about to be on stage in a few hours for a play.
There you go. There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
break
All
it
right.
out, man.
Yeah,
Take
thank
care
you.
now.
Good seeing you guys.
See you next weekend.